campers, and welcome to week 6 of the Met Opera Global Summer Camp, where we have got opera lovers from all 7 continents joining us for this global summer camp. I'm Susan Blackwell, one of your camp counselors. I'm so happy to be here with you. This week's opera is The Merry Widow. It is one of the funniest rom-com operas ever to be produced, and you can watch that opera this Wednesday through Friday at the link provided in the Google Classroom beginning on Wednesday. And here is what is happening this week. Today, it's Get to Know the Opera with 3 amazing teachers. Camp counselors Kara and Elizabeth will lead our younger campers through The Merry Widow, and Camp Counselor Stephanie will be the older campers guide. Now, you might remember Kara, Elizabeth, and Stephanie from our Rusalka week a little while back. Yeah. So tomorrow, Tuesday, we are going to be doing a singing activity with the phenomenal Gussie Celestin. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet Gussie. You are going to love her. On Wednesday, the Met's executive stage director, Paula Swazi, will be hosting an artist chat with Susan Graham, one of the most famous opera singers in the entire world. On Thursday, we have got opera story time with Angel Blue. Angel Blue sang the role of Bess in the Gershwin's Porgy and Bess at the Metropolitan Opera this season. This week is amazing. I'll also be in the Career Corner on Thursday with Susie Gomez Pizzo. Susie is the supervisor of the Met's Ladies Wardrobe, and we hope that you'll send your video questions for Susan Graham, Angel Blue, and Susie Gomez Pizzo via the Jot form in the Google Classroom. We all love your video questions, and we all want to hear from you. Also, on Wednesday and Thursday, it's check-ins on Zoom with your camp counselors, and Friday, it's Camper Showcase with your friends Dan Marshall and Camp Counselor Tim, where we get to see all the amazing things you've been creating all week long. On Google Classroom, you can also find your creative challenge with Ms. Bryant, musical moments, and warm-ups with Ms. Berglund. And remember, almost all camp activities are live. Know that we want to hear from you, we want to know what questions you have, and we all want to learn from each other. And now, it's time to party, friends, with The Merry Widow.
Oh my gosh. Oh, she brought a fan.
Hello, of course.
Oh my
Gotta have the fan.
gosh. Camp
Gotta have
counselor.
the fascinator. You know,
You put me to shame.
dress.
Camp counselor
Well-
Stephanie, welcome back to Met Opera Global Summer Camp. I'm so happy to see you. Oh my gosh, I know you have prepared an amazing lesson for the Merry Widow, and I don't want to stand in your way. I just wanted to say hi because I adore you. You're one of my favorite people.
Oh,
How are things in Oakland, California, and San Francisco?
things are good. Things are good. Our numbers are going up, so we're going to go back into more of a lockdown starting today. But that's okay because we have opera to watch, we have music to love, and we're going to be okay. Music is going to get us through this.
That's right. Wash your hands, stay safe.
Right.
Enjoy Camp Counselor Stephanie's amazing lesson. I'll see all of you at the end. Bye-bye.
All right. So, welcome to Get to Know the Merry Widow. It's an operetta in 3 acts, and it's going to be sung in English. The running time is 2 hours and 28 minutes, which is quite short in opera time. The music is by Franz Lehár, and the libretto was written by Victor Leon and Leo Stein. It's based on the play L'attaché d'ambassade by Henri Milliac. It was first performed in December in 1905 at the Theater de Wien in Vienna, Austria. Next slide, please. So I'm Stephanie Holmes. You probably remember me from Rusalka. I put 2 new pictures up for this intro. There are literally the last 2 performances I did before COVID-19. On Leap Day, February 29th, my students and I played at Disneyland. And there I am the week before the world shut down, playing in a barn at my cousin's wedding. Please notice my awesome shoes, which are very similar to the shoes that the Grisettes will be wearing. So stay tuned for that. Sorry, I'm all about clearly I'm all about accessories, which is a different class, but let's continue. Okay, so slide number 3. Hey, you guys, it's joke o'clock. So my Merry Widow joke is about the waltz. Learning to waltz is hard. It feels like I'm taking 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. Get it? It's joke o'clock. What do you got for me, guys? Amaya from Oakland. Oh, Oakland. All right. What is smaller than a dog but can put a bear on the run? I don't know. A skunk. Ooh, good one. All right. Go Oakland. Lena from Santa Monica. Okay, we're all about California today. What starts with an E and ends with an E but only has 1 letter? Well, I don't know. An envelope. Oh, I should have gotten that one. Good one. Oh, wow. Wow. You guys are so clever. I am really impressed. All right. So we're going to go to mentimeter.com. Your code is 798291. And our first Menti is going to be, what is your favorite dance? So let me know what your favorite dance is. I'm going to give away my favorite dance. My favorite is the waltz. Okay. We're not getting, I wonder, I hope it's working. Probably
Can I
takes you guys.
share my favorite dance?
Yes, you can.
Okay, my favorite dance is the Cabbage Patch.
Oh,
Boom! Yes.
all right.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. So, well, we've got some, I love you, Dan. We've got ballet, we've got hip hop. Oh, we've got some waltzers with me. Cotton Eye Joe. Wow. Don't care. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I can't read my. All right. Wow. I love that you guys are all dancers. And I think it's really impressive that ballet has the most votes. That is awesome. Very cool. Oh, we got salsa, hip hop. Oh, that's wonderful. You know what? Dancing is also with dancing to music is getting me through this pandemic. You know, if you can dance, you're all right. All right, cool. Well, let's go back to the slideshow. So speaking of the waltz was a dance that was born in the suburbs of Vienna and in the Alpine regions of Austria. As early as the 17th century, waltzes were played in the ballrooms of the Habsburg court. The Veller, or a turning dance, were danced by peasants in Austria and Bavaria, and even before that time. The waltz evolved from the Lindler, which is an 18th century dance. Characterized by step, slide, and step in 3/4 time, the waltz with its turning, embracing couples at first shocked polite society. It became the ballroom dance par excellence of the 19th century, however, and tenaciously maintained its popularity in the 20th century. Its variations include the rapid whirling Viennese waltz, which you will see in the Merry Widow. Famous composers of waltzes include Friedrich Chopin, Peter Tchaikovsky, Johann Strauss, and his sons, especially Johann Strauss Jr. He was known as the Waltz King. And there is a picture there of Johann Strauss Jr. If you go to Vienna, there's a public park, which my students have actually played concerts in. And there he is playing his violin. In those times, the conductor played violin with the orchestra, and there is Johann Jr. playing his violin for all to see. Okay, so we're going to start with the most famous song in this operetta, and it is the Merry Widow Waltz. You're going to hear this melody in all 3 acts, including the overture. Please enjoy.
Why should you care?
Because you... Oh, can't you guess?
Yeah, I'm past guessing. I want to hear you say the words.
Wish I could. There must be some other way.
What do you mean?
Well, music's playing here, it's saying, I love you.
Camp Counselor Steph, I'm sorry, our campers can't hear this. Let me just restart it really quickly. I'm just gonna
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. Hi.
That's
me.
okay. These things happen.
Can you talk to us a little bit about taking your students to Vienna to Waltz?
Yes. So when I lived in Virginia and taught in Virginia, we every other year would take a European tour. We were very lucky, and we always went to Vienna, and we always played in that park where the Waltz King statue is. And that night, we would have a special waltz night where we all learned how to waltz to a live orchestra. It was awesome. And if they ever let people from the United States back to Europe, please visit Vienna. It is amazing. Yep, there's the Waltz King. Here we go.
And why should you care? And why should you care?
Because you, can't you guess?
I passed guessing. I want to hear you say the words.
Wish I could. There must be some other way.
What do you mean?
Music's playing here, it's saying, I love you. As we dance, a voice may answer, I do too. Can't you hear the music? Sing a secret song. Yes, it's true, and yes, you knew it all along.
We hear the music play. I feel your body sway. Your heart is beating fast. If only love could speak at last. Oh, since nothing can be said, if only we could dance instead. You know that it is true, that I love you.
In every life, a little waltzing should come, I hope. Okay, so now we're going to get to know the creative team behind The Merry Widow. Melyak, the gentleman that you see at the top left, was a prolific playwright and librettist who specialized in probing the comic foibles of his fellow man. Ironically, his fame today rests almost exclusively on the libretto he co-wrote for Bizet's Carmen. hardly one of the lighthearted pieces that famed the bulk of his creative output. His three-act comedy, L'attaché de Bassade, The Embassy Attaché, dates from 1861, close to the beginning of his long career. Unlike the blockbuster successes of his later opera libretti for Jacques Offenbach, it did not find a large audience and closed after only 15 performances. But it found greater success in a German translation at the Karl Theater in Vienna, where it was regularly revived. Inspired by one of these revivals in 1905, the librettist Leo Stein, which you see there, was moved to adapt Meliac's stage comedy into an operatic libretto. With his frequent collaborator, Victor Leon, himself the stage manager at the Karl Theater, he brought the idea to the management of Vienna's theater, which liked the idea of a new operetta with a glittering Parisian setting. After the theater's first choice of composer did not produce the desired result, Lehár was asked to step in. The immediate success of The Merry Widow, without a doubt, was due not only to its profusion of sensuous melodies and dances, but also to Meliac's expert weaving of romance, dialogue, and dramatic conflicts. Victor Leon was born in Hungary, and he was a well-known Jewish librettist. He collaborated with Leo Stein to produce the libretto of The Merry Widow. Leon's property was confiscated after Austria's annexation by Nazi Germany in 1938. He unfortunately died of starvation while in hiding in 1940 at the age of 82. Leo Stein was Austrian, and he was a playwright and librettist of operettas in the later part of the 19th and early 20th centuries, including works for he adapted a number of works for Broadway productions. Stein wrote libretti for Johann Strauss Jr., Franz Lehár, and Oscar Nedball. His collaboration with Victor Leon contributed much to Lehár's success. Stein is buried in Vienna. Franz Lehár was born April 30th, 1870 in Hungary. He died in October in Austria. He studied at the Prague Conservatory. Encouraged by Antonin Dvorak to follow his musical career, Lehár traveled in Austria as a bandmaster, just like his father did before him. The Merry Widow, Lehár created a new style of Viennese operetta, introducing waltz tunes and imitations of the Parisian can-can dances, as well as a certain satirical element. Its success was such that 2 years later, it was played in Buenos Aires at 5 theaters simultaneously. Many other operettas by Lehár followed and became well known in England and the United States under their English titles. Among them were The Man with Three Wives, The Count of Luxembourg, Gypsy Love, and The Land of Smiles. Several of his works were filmed, including The Merry Widow and The Land of Smiles. He wrote a single grand opera, Giuditta, in 1934, but it was not as successful. Lehár stayed in Austria during the Second World War, refusing to involve himself with politics, but benefiting financially from Hitler's promotion of The Merry Widow. Hitler's wife, Sophie, was Jewish, but Hitler ensured that she was protected as she was Aryan by marriage, though it did not stop her from being investigated. Many of Lehár's musical collaborators and librettists, including Leon and Stein, were Jewish. The operetta was staged multiple times in Germany and the occupied countries, using generous state subsidies. In 1943, Hitler invited friends to watch a production of The Merry Widow in Munich, and Lehár gave him a signed copy of its original 1905 program as a birthday present. The program featured a picture of Louis Treman, the tenor that originated the role of Danilo. In a cruel twist, Treman had just been murdered in Theresienstadt, the concentration camp. After the war, Lehár maintained a low profile. "My conscience is clear," he said. "My Merry Widow was Hitler's favorite opera. That's not my fault." The extent to which Lehár enjoyed the association with Hitler is unclear. He was apolitical and unlikely was anti-Semitic since his wife was Jewish. Nevertheless, he benefited financially from performances of The Merry Widow in the Third Reich and did not choose to leave the country despite his wife's dangerous situation. Lehár died near Salzburg in 1948. So I just wanted to give you a little background about that. I didn't even know that Hitler liked the Merry Widow, but I feel like knowledge is power and we should know these things. So we're going to go to our next mentee. And this one is, what does operetta mean? So when you hear the word operetta, what does that mean to you? So we have a brief opera using humor and laughter. Okay, does anybody else have any ideas? And we're talking about operetta as opposed to opera. Short, not so dramatic opera. Absolutely. A short opera, usually on a light or humorous theme and typically having spoken dialogue. Notable composers of, oh, wow, okay, someone's been quoting me. Opera that's short, little opera. These are all perfect answers. Yep. You guys get it. I don't think there's anything you all don't know. Short opera, lighter than typical operas, absolutely. Spoken words and singing. Yep, you guys got it. You got it. A piece where music and dialogue are mixed, often shorter and lighter. Yep, that right there is a perfect, okay, you guys get it. All right, let's go back to the slideshow. You guys are awesome. Yep, you totally get it. Okay, so the difference between opera and operetta. Operas are usually sung through, having little or no spoken dialogue, and operettas are less serious and frothy with sentimental plots that have happy endings. They have spoken dialogue and simpler, easier to whistle music. They also tend to have more dancing than do operas. It's from operettas that the modern musical evolved. So Lehár was known for the silver age of opera, of operetta. But I can't really talk about operetta without talking a little bit about Gilbert and Sullivan. And it's not just because my husband's an Englishman, but I happen to love the operettas of Gilbert and Sullivan. If you guys have never heard of them, check them out. There's probably lots of performances on YouTube and things that you can enjoy. So Gilbert and Sullivan refers to the partnership of dramatist W.S. Gilbert and the composer Arthur Sullivan. They together created 14 comic operas between 1871 and 1896, of which HMS Pinafore, The Pirates of Penzance, and The Mikado are among the best known. Gilbert, who wrote the libretti for these operas, created a fanciful, topsy-turvy world where each absurdity is taken to its logical conclusion. Fairies rub elbows with British lords, flirting is a capital offense, gondoliers ascend to the monarchy, and pirates emerge as noblemen who have just gone astray. Sullivan, 6 years Gilbert's junior, composed the music, contributing memorable melodies that could convey both humor and pathos. The name operetta literally means little opera, a reference to the fact that these works tend to be shorter than operas, especially in their early days, where many of them were written to be performed in one act. But there's also a difference in tone. While operas may tackle grand and tragic themes, operettas are light and comedic. Typically, they focus on sentimental romantic stories with satire, humor, even silliness. Plots often involve lover spats, mistaken identities, and grand, glittering parties. Dance also plays a much more important role in operetta, and there's usually a fair amount of spoken dialogue interspersed with the musical numbers. All those things that I just mentioned, the dancing, the dialogue, this is all going to happen in The Merry Widow. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is a dance card. So, like my fan here, sometimes dance cards were actually like a fan, and you're going to see a dance card in this opera. But I realize that you probably don't know what a dance card is. A dance card was used by women to record the names of gentlemen with whom she intends to dance each successive dance at a formal ball. They appear to have originated in the 18th century, but they first became widespread in the 19th century in Vienna, especially at massive balls during Fasching before Lent. My parents met at Fasching. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the first published use of the term in English was in 1892. An actual dance card is typically a booklet with a decorative cover listing dance titles, composers, and the person with whom the woman is intended to dance. Typically, it would have a cover indicating the sponsoring organization of the ball and a decorative card by which it could be attached to a lady's wrist or ball gown. From the 19th century until World War I, dance cards for the elite of Austria-Hungary were often very elaborate, with some even incorporating precious metals and jewels. In modern times, the expression dance card is often used metaphorically, as when someone says, "Pencil me in your dance card," meaning find some time to spend with me. Conversely, claiming one's dance card is full implies that even though they may be interested, they don't have time for the other person. You probably only hear old people like me referring to dance cards, but I'm not that old to have ever had a dance card. All right, so the big question, why is the widow Mary? From the wife of Bath in Chaucer's 14th century Canterbury Tales to Lehar's Hannah Glowry, you see Hannah right there, the widow in European literature and art frequently appears as a carefree, powerful, and downright merry character. But why? The idea is anchored in the traditional rights and views of women, particularly in relation to marriage throughout history. In 19th century and long before, the identity of European women was largely determined by their marital status. Unmarried women were typically viewed as subject to their fathers. They had no independent existence. Upon marriage, a woman became subject to her husband. In England, even into the 19th century, any property brought into a marriage by a woman became her husband's. If they separated, even if it wasn't by her choice, she was typically left destitute. And under the law, she had no rights to any of the marital property. European women could not buy or sell property or engage in any financial transactions on their own behalf. Ladies, can you imagine that? But if a woman became a widow, her story likely changed, at least if she was a widow of a well-off man. In many European societies, widows were fully independent. They often inherited their husband's riches and didn't return to their father's homes. So they became somewhat of an anomaly, a woman with money and power of choice. Some took over their husband's businesses and increased their wealth, which they continued to control. Of course, this wasn't the case for all widows. Overwhelmingly, they suffered hardship when they lost their main source of support. But it's the figure of the merry widow, free, wealthy, powerful, and independent, that appears again and again in European arts and literature. So there's a little more background I want to give to you, and I want to explain to you about Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau is an international style of art, architecture, and applied art, especially the decorative arts, known in different languages by different names. In English, it's known as modern style or British Art Nouveau style. The style was most popular between 1890 and 1910. It was a reaction against the academic art, eclecticism, and historicism of 19th century architecture and decoration. It was often inspired by natural forms, such as the sinuous curves of plants and flowers. Other characteristics of Art Nouveau were a sense of movement, often given by asymmetry or whiplash lines, and the use of modern materials, particularly iron, glass, ceramics, and later concrete, to create unusual forms and large open spaces. One major objective of Art Nouveau was to break down the traditional distinction between fine arts, especially painting and sculpture, and applied arts. It was most widely used in interior design, graphic arts, furniture, glass art, textiles, ceramic, jewelry, and metalwork. Victor Horta was a Belgian architect and designer and one of the founders of the Art Nouveau movement. His Hotel Tasso in Brussels, which I've been to, built in 1892, is often considered the first Art Nouveau house, and along with 3 of his other early houses, is listed in UNESCO's World Heritage Site. The curving styled vegetable forms and Horta use influenced many others, including Hector Grimard, who used it in his first house he designed in Paris and in the entrances of the Paris Métro. He is also considered a precursor of modern architecture for his open floor plans and his innovative use of iron, glass and steel. So you see a picture of the Paris Metro. It's so beautiful, and that is a beautiful example of Art Nouveau. Also, the Tiffany lamps were a big thing in Art Nouveau, and there you see my silly husband standing in front of the Victor Horta house with that beautiful Art Nouveau ironwork, which is just gorgeous. Yes, and so the reason why I'm talking to you about Art Nouveau is you will see examples of Art Nouveau in Maxine's, which leads us to the next slide. So fun fact, Maxine's, which features prominently in the third act, is a famed restaurant on the Rue Royale in Paris, and it's still in operation. Established in the 1890s, it has been a favorite haunt of writers, artists, and celebrities throughout its history. It also appears as a setting in a number of plays and films, including Gigi, Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards, Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris. Today, Maxime's is owned by the fashion design house of Pierre Cardin. And you see there's a beautiful Art Nouveau mirror above the tables. And then you see some people enjoying Maxime's back in the day. So I just wanted to give you that background to Art Nouveau. And Google it. I love Art Nouveau. It's not everybody's style, but I love it. So now we're going to meet the characters of the Merry Widow. Now you will notice that in addition to the actor and the actor playing their role, I also have a Lego figure because we're going to see my Lego version of the Merry Widow momentarily. So here we have the Merry Widow herself, Hannah Glowry. She's a soprano, a beautiful, charming, and rich young widow. Hannah attracts many suitors who want her money. She will be played by Renee Fleming. Then we have Count Danilo Danilovich. He's a baritone. He is the secretary at the Pontryvadian Embassy. A ladies' man, Danilo was once in love with Hannah. Danilo will be played by Nathan Gunn. Baron Mirko Zeta is also a baritone, Pontryvado's ambassador in Paris. He's an older man and he's married to a lovely young woman. Zeta is a bit pompous and foolish. He will be played by Sir Thomas Allen. Next, we have Vélicienne. She is a mezzo-soprano, young and beautiful wife of Baron Zeta. She loves Camille, but wants to retain her respectability as a married woman. She will be played by Kelly O'Hara. I was really lucky. Not only have I seen Kelly in this production, but I got to see her in The King and I. Boy, she is a tremendous talent. You're going to really enjoy her performance. Next, we have Camille de Rossillon. He is a tenor. He is a young Frenchman, a young suitor who woos Baron Zeta's wife, Vélicienne. He will be played by Alec Schrader. Next, we have the comic relief, Negus. He is also a baritone, Baron Zeta's assistant, a comic character who facilitates some of the action. He will be played by Carson Elrod. Next, we have Casacata and San Brioche. They are both baritones. Both men want Hannah only for her money. And last but not least, we have the Grisettes. They are all sopranos. They are Loulou, Frou-Frou, Margot, Clo-Clo, Joujou, and Dodo. And they are awesome. So now that you know the characters, I'm going to teach you the libretto to the opera through the magic of Lego. Enjoy. Act 1, the Grand Salon at the Pontryvadian Embassy in Paris. The scene opens at a ball in honor of Pontevedra. The Pontryvadian ambassador, Baron Zeta, reveals that his home country is nearly bankrupt and hopes that their Parisian guests will help them raise the money they need. He's pleased when he sees his young wife, Vélicienne, flirting with Camille de Rossillon, a handsome young Frenchman, assuming she's merely trying to win French support for Pontevedra. In fact, Camille has declared his love for Vélicienne and writes, "I love you," on her fan. Meanwhile, Zeta eagerly awaits the arrival of the guest of honor, Hannah Glowry, a wealthy widow from Pontevedra. Zeta wants her to keep from marrying a Parisian man so that her millions will stay in their country. He plans to match her with Danilo Danilovich, a womanizing aristocrat from his country. Two Frenchmen, Casacada and Saint-Brioche, overhear Zeta's conversations about Hannah and plan to wed the widow. When Hannah makes her appearance, the Parisian men shower her with compliments. After she departs for the ballroom, Valenciennes realizes she has lost her fan and rushes out to look for it. Danilo finally arrives, fresh from a night of carousing at Maxime's, and takes a quick nap in the Grand Salon. Hannah finds them and they talk, revealing that they were once in love, but Hannah was considered too far beneath Danilo's status for them to marry. He says he's not interested in marriage and insists he will never say, "I love you." In the meantime, Zeta's chief of staff, Kromov, finds Valenciennes' fan and thinks it belongs to his wife, Olga. Zeta, wanting to spare Olga the scandal, convinces him it is Valenciennes. Meeting with Danilo, Zeta orders him to marry Hannah, but Danilo refuses. When the ladies' choice dance is announced, Hannah selects Danilo, and after some flirtatious bantering, the two finally dance. Act 2. The terrace and garden of Hannah's villa. The following day, Hannah hosts a party at her villa. Danilo arrives late, and Zeta orders him to work at keeping the Parisian men from Hannah, particularly Camille. His assistant Negus reveals that Camille is already in love with a mystery woman. Zeta wants to know who this woman is, so he can marry her off to Camille, leaving Hannah free for a Pontryvadian suitor. He believes the fan is the key to her identity and orders Danilo to determine its owner. Hannah comes across the fan and, seeing its inscription, assumes it is a gift to her from Danilo. But still, he will not say "I love you," and she will not accept him until he does. He tells her about his favorite Parisian night spot, Maxime's, and they waltz. They are interrupted by Zeta, still searching for the identity of Camille's secret lover. The men agree to meet in the pavilion to discuss the matter. Camille and Valenciennes finally find her missing fan. And this time, Valenciennes writes, "I am a respectable wife," on it. Negus watches as Valenciennes and Camille enter the pavilion. Zeta arrives to meet Danilo in the pavilion, but Negus delays him from entering so that he won't learn of his wife's tryst with Camille. Negus sneaks Hannah into the pavilion to take her place. Hannah emerges, announcing that she and Camille are engaged. Danilo departs in a huff for Maxime's, which Hannah takes as proof of his love. Act 3. Chez Maxime. Arriving at Maxime's in search of Danilo, Camille and Valenciennes sneak off to enjoy one of the private rooms. Zeta and the other Pontryvadians appear and the grisettes entertain them. They're joined by Valenciennes, who is dressed as a grisette. Eventually, both Danilo and Hannah arrive at Maxime's, and he forbids her to marry Camille. When she explains that she was merely safeguarding another woman's reputation, Danilo is delighted, but still won't declare his love. As the guests reassemble, Danilo announces that Hannah will not marry Camille, but he will not reveal the identity of Camille's mistress. Negus produces the missing fan, which he found in the pavilion. Zeta finally recognizes it as his wife's, declares himself divorced, and proposes to Hannah. She informs him that according to her late husband's will, if she remarries, she will lose her fortune. Hearing this, the men at the ball lose interest in marrying Hannah, except for Danilo, who finally declares his love for her. They agree to marry, and Hannah amends her account of the will. Upon remarrying, she will lose her fortune to her new husband. Valenciennes returns and tells Zeta to read the other side of the fan, which reads, "I am a respectable wife." With the couples reunited, the men sing about the mysteries of women. Okay, so that was my first attempt at stop motion. I did make that stop motion. Yes, I do live in an apartment full of Legos. If you want to make a stop motion, it doesn't have to be a Lego stop motion. Hello!
That was amazing.
Thank you!
I feel like we need to have an entire Met Opera on-stage production where everybody is Legoed out. This
Right?
is my pitch. I don't know who we have to talk to about this. I guess we can find the right people. Thank you for that. I just had to chime in that was brilliant, Camp Counselor
Thank you.
Steph. I appreciate
And
it.
it was the first time I've ever done anything like that. And there are lots of apps online to get you started. It does take a lot of time, but it's really fun. And yeah, I just had fun with it. Thunderous applause. Thank you, my loves.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. If you guys want to ask me some questions about the making of that video, that is a great thing we can talk about on Thursday. And you can also message me in the Google Classroom, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. But I do have an activity about stop motion where I give you some tips. But I'm happy to talk to you about that.
Awesome.
Okay, so we have one more mentee, and it is, who would you like on your dance card?
Oh.
So you know who I would like on my dance card is
Who?
you, Dan.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say the same thing about you. Oh my gosh.
Here, let me put you on my dance card.
Oh my goodness. I
So
was
Dan, I
delighted.
heard that there is going to be a dance party.
It's a rumor that may turn out to be true. All of you campers in the chat right now, if you stick with us until week 8, we may be capping off our Met Opera Global Summer Camp experience with, as Susan Blackwell says, a virtual dance party.
I am there.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I will definitely make space for you at the top of my dance card.
Why, thank you.
Let's get this mentee up and going. Let's see what.
Okay, so let's see who folks want to dance with. My imaginary friend, that's cool. There's a great Billy Idol song called Dancing with Myself. My daddy, I learned to waltz with my father, putting my feet on his feet.
Aw.
I know, it's like one of my favorite memories. Yeah, okay, yeah, dancing with your daddy is really fun. No one? Okay, an alien, excellent choice. Lin-Manuel, all right, yeah.
You know what?
I'd be kind of afraid to dance with him because I don't want to dance with someone that's better at dancing than me.
I also don't want to hurt him in any way because he's
right.
a global treasure, right?
Yeah, and to be as young as he is and to be a national treasure, Renee Fleming, yeah, she's got the moves.
She definitely does.
All right. And you know what? The thing about dancing is it doesn't matter. Just have fun because people get self-conscious, but you should just have fun with it.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Oh my
Spider Dan.
You know what?
Dan, I think your dance card is going to be full.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Friends, I'm going to duck out of here, but Stephanie,
all right.
I have to congratulate you, and I'm so glad I got to mentee with all of you today. It really made my day.
Bye. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is things to look for in Act 1. So that's Act 2. Dan, go back one slide, please. There we go. Okay, so the overture of this operetta is incredible. And like musicals, it has snippets of all the big tunes in the opera. So in that first 10 minutes, you're going to hear all the greatest hits, if you will. Then this opera transcends into this epic dance scene that you see in this slide. It is some amazing choreography. You are just going to love it. So Act 2 also opens with dancing, and it's wonderful folk dancing to set the stage for Pontryvadian night at Hannah's. Then after the dancing, Hannah sings the beautiful song Vila, and I'm going to share this song with you. This is not Renee Fleming. This is Susan Graham singing, and I just want to share this gorgeous song that is still to this day sung all the time in all kinds of vocal recitals. Please enjoy Vila. That is just a beautiful, beautiful melody, and I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so next in Act Two, we have a really hilarious duel between Casada and San Brioche. Look out for it. They're both wearing blue uniforms. It will crack you up. The staging and the choreography are such a huge highlight. So the next thing I'm going to have you watch is the song called Who Can Tell? And this is starring all the men, and they are talking about women. It's so confusing. Enjoy.
Who can tell what the hell women are? Women which, but completely bizarre. Women, endless compartment pass. Like a baby or like us. From a wonder apart from a toy. Women, the monster who wants to destroy. Women, there's a mix or a child or a sphinx. Who can tell what the hell she is? Who can tell what the hell women are? Oh, so sweet but completely bizarre. Oh, that endless bravado and class. Like a baby boy like us. From a wonder of joy to a monster who wants to destroy. Wild as a bitch or a child or a snake, who can tell what the hell she is? Who can tell what the hell women are? Women sweet by completely bizarre. Women endless but fun. Women, they be more like us. From a wonder of joy to a monster who wants to destroy.
Okay, so look out for that. It's really, really a fun song. And I love the constant use of the word kerfuffle, one of my favorite words. So Act Two ends with a beautiful duet. Listen for the close harmonies between Camille and the first violin. I think it's absolutely stunning. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to have you watch, and this is the last video I'm going to show you, is the transition between Act Two to Act Three. And the way they do this transition is through dance. So we are literally going to dance into Maxime's with the can-can. The can-can is a high-energy, physically demanding dance that became a popular music hall dance in the 1840s, continuing in popularity in French cabaret to this day. Originally danced by both sexes, it is now traditionally associated with a chorus line of female dancers. The main features of this dance include vigorous manipulation of skirts and petticoats, along with high kicks, splits, and cartwheels. Enjoy this amazing can-can. So guys, you're welcome to try the can, but please be careful. These are trained dancers who are amazing. We don't want anybody getting hurt, okay? It's not normal to be able to kick that high, trust me. Or if you try it, please warm up first. All right, so Kelly O'Hara really shines as Valesian in Act 3, and she joins the Grisettes for a dance, and you're gonna love that scene. Also look out for when Hannah enters in Act 3, her interaction with the Grisettes is hilarious. Check it out. Also, one last thing I wanna have you notice is that when one of the older Pontryvadian women takes her bow, she does the splits in her bow, and it's incredible. So check that out. The bows in this production are more like musical theater bows, so you get little hijinks like that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the activities I posted for you on the Google Classroom. So I have an activity called Learn to Waltz, and waltzing is my absolute favorite dance. I put some instructions about how to learn to waltz. I also put up some waltzing music, so please feel free to enjoy that. Also, we would love to have you review The Merry Widow. We want to hear what you think. Please make a 90-second video and we'll include it in our camper showcase. The other thing I put up is a video of myself showing the basics of conducting. So I'm going to show you a 2 pattern, a 3 pattern, and a 4 pattern. And I also put up some music for you to practice conducting with. So please enjoy that. The other thing I put up is some scores. So I put up the vocal score to The Merry Widow. I couldn't get a hold of the entire score. It's not in public domain. But if you are interested in getting free music, IMSLP, and I mentioned that in the Google Classroom, is an amazing website where you can get music for free via PDF of all kinds of different pieces of music. I use it a lot in my score study. There's also an activity about personal possessions, like a fan, and you can draw what kind of prop you would use if you were to direct this production. I also included the original French text of the play by Miliac. It's in French. I also translated it into English, but I did it using Google Translate, so it's not perfect. It's a little awkward, but you'll get the idea. If you speak French, then you can just read the French version. And then lastly, how to make a stop motion film. I am happy to help you with that. I noticed in the chat, people were asking if what Spider-Man was doing at Maxime's. And the thing is that all kinds of people went to Maxime's. Spider-Man was actually having a drink with Batman, but you can't see Batman very well. Also in the foreground, you will see Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow, and Toto jumps up on the table. check it out. I posted Lego Merry Widow on the Google Classroom. So if you want to watch that video again, you certainly may. All right, Dan. Oh, it's joke o'clock. All right, what do you got for me, guys? Okay, so from Oman, what do you call a fish that needs help with her vocals? I don't know. What do you call it? Auto tuna. Okay, I'm totally using that joke. That is a beautiful joke. Laura from Lehár. Oh, again, California. All right. Why do seagulls fly over the sea? I don't know, Laura. Why? Because if they flew over the bay, they would be bagels. I appreciate this joke because I live right by the bay. Wow. All right. You guys are hilarious. Okay, so Dan, tell us, hello. Tell us about this incredible week we're going to have.
Well, let me tell you about this incredible lesson you just taught all of us. Thank you. Oh my gosh, we have such a great time whenever you're here. I hate that it's almost over, but here we go. We'll see you on Thursday for our Zoom check-in and on Friday for Camper Showcase. It's going to be a great week. Okay, so let's just kind of go through our camper schedule for the week. Susan detailed it at the top of your session, but you know, reviewing things in opera can never hurt. All right, here we go. Tomorrow we have arts and crafts, a hands-on lesson with Camp Counselor Gussy Celestin. Gussy is a friend of ours. She teaches with us at the Met, and she is amazing. I know that Susan said she's singing. I'm going to talk to Gussy this afternoon. She always comes up with something so creative and powerful. You're going to have such a great time.
She is such a cool person. You guys are going to just love it. She's awesome.
She is. Okay. On Wednesday, the 22nd at noon, we'll have an artist Q&A with Paula Swazi, the Met's executive stage director, and Met opera star, mezzo-soprano Susan Graham, whom you just saw singing the Viola lead from this opera. She has played the Merry Widow, played the titular character in productions all over the world. She'll be the perfect person to talk to about the distinction of operetta versus opera. She's had an amazing career at the Met and throughout the globe. She probably sang in your home country. I bet she did. Make sure you submit a video question for Susan Graham. She's a lovely, lovely person. She'll be coming to us from New Mexico, where she's riding out the quarantine.
Nice.
Yeah. And then on Thursday, we'll have our Zoom check-in with Stephanie and Camp Counselor Dr. Kamala and me. I'll pop by. And we'll be able to answer your questions about the camper activities and anything you want to know about this this operetta, The Merry Widow. And then opera story time with a glistening star of the Metropolitan Opera stage, Miss Angel Blue, who is so wonderful, who is so kind, who is a star with a heart as big as her big, beautiful voice. I can't wait to see what story she reads for us. And then she's going to take a few questions from each of you. Angel Blue, of course, starred as Bess in the Gershwin's Porgy and Bess opening night of the Met this past season. It was a monumental performance, and you're going to have a great time meeting her. And then at 1 p.m., directly after that, we're going to have Susan Blackwell. A lot of Susans this week. Susan Blackwell in the Career Corner with Susie Gomez-Pizzo. Susie is the assistant, I'm going to get this wrong. She is essentially in charge of the ladies' wardrobe at the Met, which means she dresses all of the stars. She has a fascinating job at the Met. She's had an impressive career. She knows every star. I know you all like to talk about Deanna Damrau, Anna Netrebko, Susan Graham, Renee Fleming. She knows all of them, and she's very good friends with them. Our friend Isabel Leonard, some of you saw the quick change video with her. Susie's in that video, and we're going to get to meet her and ask her questions. So submit a video question. We love it when we get to see your faces and hear your voices. And then, of course, on Friday, as always, Camper Showcase.
Yay!
Hosted by Tim Brendler. And of course, our beloved camp counselors this week, Stephanie and Kara and Elizabeth, will all be there. We're going to have a great time. And of course, you'll be watching the Met's production of The Merry Widow for free on the main camp webpage. There it is right there, metopera.org/global summer camp from 5 p.m. Wednesday until 5 p.m. Friday. This, of course, all of these times are New York City, East Coast time. There is a time zone converter in your Google Classroom as well as on the main Global Summer Camp page. Wow, I think I got it all. Did we get it all?
Okay.
I think we did.
I think so.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was a marvelous lesson. I learned so much. It's funny how this lighthearted opera has a little bit of a thorny history, and we got to learn some of that today thanks to you, Camp Counselor Steph. So great to see you. We have lots of praise coming in from our friends all over the world. Oh, that's great. Great to see all of you. I know these young campers. Oh wait. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in the chat right now, but I think
the chat is busy.
The chat is busy and we love it. So I think the best thing for us to do, Camp Counselor Steph, is just say goodbye, and we'll see everybody tomorrow for our arts and crafts lesson with Gussy Celestin, and we'll learn more about the Merry Widow. Bye-bye, everybody.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.